Hey everyone, just wanted to give you a quick heads up. The second Global Product Owner Summit is coming soon. You can get all the details at bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. That's bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. And it's all lowercase, all one word. Oh, and stick with us until the end of the episode to know the dates and the tracks that we have for you in this year's summit. But for now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Friday TGIF and, of course, Product Owner episode this week with Joe Scherler. Hey, Joe, welcome back.
Hello back, Vasco.
So, product owners, of course, the critical role that we sometimes forget about, and I think especially perhaps we don't give enough help to them since the teams are so prevalent in our mind and in our work, but we do need to help them. And we have the Product Owner Summit just coming in a few weeks, and it's important to celebrate that role, but also recognize how difficult it is and that we really need to put an effort into making this role even more successful in the organizations that we work within. So let's talk about the role. Let's talk about a bad example first, and then we'll talk about a great example and celebrate the great product owners that we work with. But first, share with us what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career, Joe.
Yeah, the one that stood out for me was a product owner who wasn't really available to the team. So that manifested in moving meetings around at the last minute, mainly off camera. That was during the pandemic. Didn't really have time for discussions with the developers during the sprint when some clarification was needed. And also bailed out of retrospectives because I'm a firm believer that the product owner is part of the retrospective, because otherwise how can we learn how to collaborate better? And that was paired with an order in the backlog that was reflection of maybe the urgency of one stakeholder, and the majority of the stories coming in, of the PBIs coming in the last minute, like 2 days before a sprint start.
So these are a series of quite difficult patterns of behavior. If we think about the product owner role, some of those, one would argue, could even be classified as going against the idea of having the product owner. And we do see some people out there talking about how the product owner role needs to be disbanded. I don't believe so. I think it is a critical role, and I think that when implemented correctly, it can be a huge benefit for the team and the organization. So let's talk about that. Like when you go back and when you realize and think, in retrospect, think about that product owner and the environment in that organization. What did you try, or what would you have liked to try to help this product owner understand their role and the importance of their role for the team?
Yeah, so in hindsight, I would probably have gone to the manager of the product organization earlier, because that was ultimately the manager who was responsible for empowering that PO to show up differently. I taught the team, and that's something that even in such a situation one can do. I taught the team how to support the product owner in backlog refinement and PBI creation, because it's a common misconception that only a product owner would write backlog items. And that took off some of the pressure on that product owner. I realized in hindsight that he was just a manifestation of everything that happened around him in the product organization.
And so that we may be able to detect that in our own organizations and take action earlier, what was happening around this PO that maybe forced them into this kind of behaviors?
There was there was a manager in place in his product organization who had a very confusing hierarchical structure built into his organization. So the product owner I was working with basically had to report to two people, and it was never clear what to report where. And I realized that's nothing has nothing to do with Scrum, but as a Scrum master who serves the organization, I should still really go outside of that boundary of the team and look at what is it that's not working there, and then have that tough and uncomfortable conversation with a person who has a lot of influence and even could get me fired. So it's really about showing up with courage.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that, because it does take courage. Now, of course, there are good ways to do it and bad ways to do it. You can show up with courage in a productive and constructive way, and you can show up with courage in a self-destructive and martyr way. We don't want martyrs. That's not what we are talking about, of course. We want to do that in a constructive way. And let's talk to Luke out there, Scrum Master, maybe facing the exact same situation right now. What would you say to Luke? How to start that conversation?
I would say try to find out what is the most urgent problem of your product owner and find out if you can be of support to them with exactly that thing, because that's how you get the foot in the door. That's how you create a relationship with them, and tackle it via being of service.
Yeah, absolutely. Get them on board, prove that you're there to help, and then, of course, move on to the next steps. And usually the POs themselves are able to reflect and see what is actually not working. And if they feel supported and if they feel safe, they are, I'm sure, willing to talk about that. But of course, there aren't only anti-patterns in the PO role. There are also some amazing product owners out there, and we do want to honor them and share how they behave. So Joe, share with us the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
The best might be unfair to the other ones, but there's one that stands out, and that's a junior PO that I worked with. The person really was curious and was courageous and an awesome team player. So
how do those manifest for a product owner to be curious, courageous, and an awesome team player?
Mm-hmm. So the curiosity showed up as in she really wanted to learn, and she wanted to learn about how other people do their job, to understand the context. And she applied that also to everything that was in the discovery for the product. Courageous as a junior, especially in a Latin American country, it is probably, and I can only assume as an older man, as a younger woman, that's a really difficult task when you don't agree with somebody who's really high ranking in an organization, and she would defend the backlog and what was in there for the sake of the product's customer, reasoning really well, and showing up for the product and the customer and the team when sometimes there was a strong headwind.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that gives the team a sense of security. So when the product owner is shifting direction all the time, so the opposite of what you just said, right? Then the team does not feel secure because they really don't know, like where should we take the architecture? Should we do it this way and have more flexibility, or that way and just solve this problem quickly? Like all of those questions that come up every day at all kinds of levels of detail for the team. If we don't trust the direction that the PO has told us they want to go in, then of course we don't know what direction we should be going in.
Yeah. And I think another aspect that she also role modeled was she was talking the language of the stakeholders. And when people ask for a roadmap, you cannot just not show a roadmap. But you showed a roadmap in a different way. So we ended up, and that was something that I developed with her, we ended up showing a roadmap for the product and an updated roadmap for the product for the next 1 to 2 months, every 2 weeks in the sprint review. That was part of, and she really understood how to manage those conversations.
And that's a great way to collect feedback, because if you show the roadmap, then you get the feedback from the team, from the stakeholders, and you're able to bring that information in and, of course, process it.
Yeah. And internally to the team, she was also really a good partner to have those business value discussions within the team, and then also representing the team with the stakeholders when it was about updating the underlying platform, which is a necessity, but it might not be obviously.
So also defend technical.
Obviously, exactly. So she was a good partner for the technical people by really also then owning that part.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great set of behaviors, of course, and something that all product owners out there need to be exposed to. So I hope there's also many product owners listening to this session with you, Joe. But unfortunately, we're getting close to the end. Before we go, though, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
That would be on my LinkedIn. Yeah, that's LinkedIn, and then Joe Scherler. There should only be one, I think.
Absolutely. And we'll put the link in the show notes to make sure that people find the right page. And why not follow up with Joe and ask a few follow-up questions. Mm-hmm. Joe, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you, Vasco, for inviting me, for having me, and actually also making me reflect on how I'm doing things and why I'm doing them. It's always a great opportunity.
Hi there, Agile friends. Thank you for sticking around and listening to the details of the Product Owner Summit, this year's global summit dedicated to a critical Scrum role, the Product Owner role, of course. We'll have some amazing keynotes and 4 tracks filled with first-hand stories and experiences for product owners to learn more about that critical Scrum role. The summit will take place between April 23rd and 25th, so book your calendars. There will be loads of sessions for you to attend. One of the keynotes will be Dave West, the product owner and CEO at Scrum.org, one of the largest Scrum organizations in the world. If you want to know more, check out the details at bit.ly/product owner 2024. That's all one word, all lowercase, bit.ly/product owner 2024. We will also have 4 tracks. The 4 tracks will cover cross-functional product ownership. That's track 1. As Pixar's Ratatouille said, not every idea can be a great idea, but a great idea can come from anywhere. And this quote emphasizes the importance of a product owner being open to all ideas, regardless of the source, and also challenges us to focus on getting good ideas from everywhere and involving the whole team in the product owner role and responsibilities. The second track is Designing Products for Growth, where we explore how to craft products ready for scalable growth, merging Practical strategies with innovation. The idea here is to learn to design products for growth, whether it is sales or customer acquisition. The third track is know your users, user-centric approaches for agile development. In this track, we learn to master user-centric techniques in agile development, to deeply understand customer needs and transform insights into meaningful UX designs that focus on engagement and satisfaction. This is a track ideal for innovation-focused agile teams. And the fourth track, one of the most exciting tracks in my opinion, is product development with AI, ideas for product owners. Not only do we discuss about using AI in the products, but also AI for product owners to learn to make a bigger impact with the help of the AI tools that we already have. The Product Owner Summit will also present to you great opportunities to network with your peers. So get your ticket and join our Slack. You can get the ticket and join the Slack at bit.ly/product owner 2024. As always, we have free tickets and also the paid tickets that help to support this podcast. So check them out at bit.ly/product owner 2024. That's all lowercase, all one word, product owner 2024. I'll see you in the summit floor.